trip to be able to decide. We go into this one restaurant in this town, but the travel agent.
Oh,
All right, good morning, everyone. Wednesday, August 19th, is the meeting of the Town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency. Following members are present: Monica Cassett, Callahan, Pally, Ross, Petrata, Mr. Braun, and by Zoom, Ms. Scheit. The quorum is present. I need a motion to go into executive session.
To discuss matters pertaining to the employment history of a particular person.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Anne Marie and Howard.
Okay. I need a motion to come out of executive session. So move. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
No action was taken while we were in executive session.
They all remember that. I need a motion to accept the minutes of our meeting of July 15th.
So move.
Second. Questions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Lori?
Okay, included in your package is the operating results through July 31st. We're pretty much on budget with all of our numbers. Speaking of budget, we're starting to prepare our 27 budget, which is due the November 1st to Paris. We have to submit it. I also wanted to give you an update on operations, which I typically talk about the closings. During the period from the last board meeting to date, we've had 2 closings for Ron Cub 2C and also Brookhaven Logistics 2. So that puts us at 10 closings as of date. There were no terminations or capture sales tax or completion certificates at this during that period. The other thing I did want to mention is we did meet and discuss our policies with the insurance broker. We had slight increases on 1 or 2 of them and slight decreases on 1. So overall, we're in line with what we budgeted for insurance. Are there any questions?
Want to do your other thing, language?
Sure. Okay, all payroll taxes and related withholdings have been paid in a timely manner in accordance with the applicable federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports have been filed on time.
Need a motion to accept Lori's report? Second.
So move.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Lisa?
Okay, so the first item on the agenda is an application from a project called SPA 77K. Would you like to come up and, no, that's what I was gonna say. I was going to turn to you now, so I'm just gonna scooch off to the side a little bit.
Okay, it's a good place to stand.
Yeah, perfect, thanks.
Good. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mayor and Council. My name is Dan Deegan, for the record, Porcelli Deegan Tirana, Hopog, New York, on behalf of the applicant. I also have with me today, Barry Stoller and Valentin Stoller, who are principals of the applicant, who you'll hear from in a bit. We also have Yvonne Daniel from YAI, who you're going to hear from in a little bit as well. The Stollers, I think, are pretty well known to this board and certainly to the town. The Stollers have an impeccable reputation. They're long-term holders, managers, developers of real estate in this town and across Long Island. They're real first-class operators with impeccable reputation, as I said. They're also known for their philanthropy. The Stoller Center at Stony Brook University. They provide housing for and support for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, which is known as IDD. Intellectual and developmental disabilities, that's important today. It's known as IDD. They also have built and operate and support the Quorum Center. It's a day center that serves adults with IDD. So they're a great family, great tradition, great owners, great operators. With that, I'd like to introduce Valentin Stoller, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the project that we're here to talk about today and how we got to where we are right now. I'll help with any.
Thank you to the board and staff for considering our application today. As Dan said, I'm Valentin Stoller, one of the principals of the applicant, along with my father, Harry. We want to begin our portion of the presentation with a brief history of the property. My great-grandfather and grandfather developed Jefferson Shopping Plaza in the late 1950s. And for decades, it was a very successful neighborhood shopping center. However, ultimately, Route 347 became the much more dominant retail corridor in the area. And beginning 20 to 25 years ago, the commercial corridor south of the Port Jefferson train station began to suffer from some negative external elements that made it difficult to do business. This caused a downward slide in the area, and our property got caught up in that. As you may know, the bus stop adjacent to our property became the most famous in Suffolk County because of a viral video. The shopping center suffered from regular criminal activity, loitering, and panhandling, so tenants began to relocate as leases expired. Beginning around 2018, town elected officials approached us to discuss potentially redeveloping our property into a mixed-use development to help catalyze a redevelopment of the area. It turned out that the town and community had wanted to redevelop the Route 112 corridor south of the train station for a number of years already. The town approached us because our property is the largest property in the area and also has the most street frontage on Route 112. And from our earliest discussions with the town and the Port Jefferson Station Terryville Civic Association, both were adamant that they wanted true mixed use and that the property be open to the community, not a gated community. The idea was that adding new apartments would provide population density that would help revitalize the blighted corridor, and they wanted sit-down restaurants and independent merchants that would benefit the community. And they also wanted a bypass roadway connecting Cherub Lane and Terryville Road. We engaged one of the country's leading architects for suburban master plan mixed-use developments, and they've helped us to create a fantastic site plan organized around an internal main street and civic plaza that can be activated for street fairs and community events. Our site plan works well for both multifamily and a small, vibrant lifestyle shopping center designed specifically for restaurants, personal services, and independent merchants. And with our architects, we also painstakingly designed 5 distinct architectural styles that we showed the town and Civic Association before landing on a final version that the Civic Association was pleased with. We brought in printed renderings for the board to look at. We thought that the easiest thing would be the board pass them around the table. Thank you. So Jefferson Station consists of 280 apartments on the south side of the site, 2/3 of which will be studios and 1-bedrooms, and 20% of the apartments, totaling 56, will be affordable and/or workforce for individuals with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. To our knowledge, based on available records since 2013, we believe this is the largest number of affordable and workforce units in a single market rate project in the town, and in the top 5 of any multifamily project in the town since 2013, perhaps earlier. On the north side of our site, we'll have a just shy of 40,000 square foot lifestyle shopping center. The 7 retail buildings are specifically designed for local independent restaurants, personal services, and merchants with no big box stores or drive-throughs. We will have a 5,000 square foot innovation center at the base of the larger residential building. This will be a technology-focused collaboration hub for Stony Brook engineers to work on projects, commercialize research, and meet with investors. There will also be public-facing elements of the Innovation Center where young people and adults in the community can take coding classes, work on robotics, meet with engineers, and be exposed to STEM fields. The Innovation Center is an aspect of the project that we will need to subsidize. Jefferson Station is, as I said, is organized around a walkable internal main street and public civic plaza designed to hold outdoor live music and events. The elevated stage that you saw in the renderings will be plug and play for live music. And we plan to have periodic festivals when we close off our private internal main street for music, food, and vendors. Our vision is for Jefferson Station to become a hub for the surrounding community. And over the past 7 years, we've had 50 meetings with the town, county, and members of the community regarding the project. And based on our last Civic Association meeting, we believe that the community is very excited about the redevelopment and what is to come in Port Jefferson Station. If you haven't already read it, we'd encourage you to read the 4 Times Record article that was included in the application. And as for where we are in the process, in September 2024, the town board unanimously rezoned the property to commercial redevelopment district. The planning division and other town agencies are now actively reviewing our site plan application. We hope to receive it later this year. We will then apply for a building permit. We hope to begin construction by the end of 2027. We are very excited about this unique project that we hope will catalyze the redevelopment of the blighted part of the town that is badly in need of investment. So thank you for your consideration of our application. I'll now turn it back over to Mr. Deegan to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Bill. So as you heard, as you can see, this is a fantastic project. You know, it's a great project. It's been, supported by the town and by the local civics. But there's some significant financial challenges associated with it. The project's been 8 years in the making. That support 2 town supervisors, 2 county executives, and 2 different civic association leadership groups. Over these last 8 years, interest rates have doubled, construction costs have skyrocketed, insurance costs have increased significantly. While this has been a highly collaborative process, that process has resulted in features and components that you heard about that greatly increase financial challenges to make this project a reality. The civic and the town required, as part of the process, that the buildings be steel and concrete buildings, which we call forever buildings, not the typical stick built that you see on many projects on Long Island. That's very much a much higher level of construction and much higher cost associated with it. There are high-end architectural features throughout the building that you can see that were driven by civic input. Masonry and hardy plank siding and oversized windows, not the typical vinyl windows and small windows and vinyl siding. There's extensive landscaping that's required as part of this process that a typical commercial builder would not put in place, but a result from the input of the civics. There's balconies in over 75% of the units. There's a significant public civic space. You heard about the bypass road that's being required that the residents and civics are looking for that we've agreed that we're going to build. These features and components have resulted in universal support, but with very significant cost savings. There will be an affordable IDD component. 20% of the units will be affordable to serve adults with IDD. That will result in 10 to 15 full-time employees that will provide services to those residents in those units. That addresses a housing need of an underserved population of Brookhaven. Just to break down the AMI percentages of the 20%, 5% would be a 50% AMI, which is 14 units. 14 units at 65% AMI, 14 units at 80% of AMI, and 14% at 95% of AMI. At this time, I'd like to introduce Devon Daniel from YAI, describe his organization and what their role would be here, and also talk a little bit about the need for a facility like this in the town of Brookhaven.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name is Devon Daniel. I'm the Senior Director of Advancement at YAI. Our CEO, Gary Milchman, is traveling. He could not be here today, so I'm honored to present on our behalf. This project is personal to me. I was raised in the town of Brookhaven, Bellport, class of '88, and I still call this community home. I currently live in Shirley. Before joining YAI, I worked at Stony Brook University as the Assistant Dean for Advancement. So the town of Brookhaven is special to me. This is where I grew up, where I raised my children, where my neighbors are, and where I care deeply about what gets built and the impact it has on my community. YAI is the largest provider of services in New York for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, also known as IDD. We've been supporting Long Island families for decades, operating group homes, day programs, and community-based services across Suffolk and Nassau counties. Our mission is simple: to help people with IDD live full, dignified lives in their own homes, in their own communities, on their own terms. YAI has worked alongside the Stoller family for more than a decade, and that relationship is the reason we're standing here today. About 12 years ago, YAI helped the Stollers design the Quorum Center, which YAI now operates and has done so for more than 8 years. For the past decade, we have also partnered with the Stollers to provide homes for people with IDD in their Farmingdale apartment buildings, inclusive housing built into luxury development, not set apart from it. That history matters. The Stollers didn't come to this work as developers looking for a tenant. They came with a passion and a purpose to make a difference, and that led them to build first a day program and then housing, because they saw gaps no one else was filling. We built an excellent relationship with the Stollers, built on trust and shared commitment to getting this right. This project of 56 apartments for people with IDD in Port Jefferson Station is the next chapter of this partnership, and we are genuinely excited about it. I want to tell you about someone we support named Luke. He entered our program at 18, and at the time he was struggling with school attendance, behavioral challenges, and maintaining meaningful connections to peers and family. Since moving into one of our residences, Luke has graduated from high school. He attended his senior prom and is now working toward a vocational program. His behavioral challenges have decreased significantly, and he's actively engaged in his community on a regular basis. Just as important, his relationship with his family has grown stronger. He participates in regular family visits, and those natural loving connections have deepened. Luke's story is what this work is really about: a supportive residential environment fostering independence, personal achievement, community inclusion, and healthy family relationships. YI already has a strong presence in the town of Brookhaven. We currently operate 5 residential programs in Medford, Ronkonkoma, Center Ridge, 3 Village, and East Setauket, along with the day habilitation program in Coral. Each of those residential programs supports about 6 to 7 people, and our Coral Day habilitation program supports roughly 25 more. Even with that footprint, there's a tremendous shortage of quality housing for people with IDD who want to live independently. This project will help close that gap significantly. YI operates group homes throughout Suffolk County, and we see this shortage firsthand. Many of the residents who move into this project will be moving out of group homes, which means those group home openings become available to others who need them. Others will be moving out of their parents' or guardians' homes. That may sound like a small thing, but it isn't. Many of these caregivers are aging parents who have spent decades as their child's primary support system. This project gives their adult children a safe, independent place to live. It provides a tremendous relief for families who are often older and increasingly unable to provide the level of care they once did. This project also means jobs. We conservatively estimate at least 10 to 15 new YAI full-time positions, including direct support professionals, some of whom will live on site. Many people start at YAI in entry-level direct support roles, and for a lot of them, it becomes a lifelong career. We invest in our staff and promote from within. This is workforce development right here in Brookhaven. The retail component of this project adds another layer, additional work opportunities for some of our residents through our employment services program. One of the things I'm proudest of is how long people stay in the YI residence once they move in, because we take a person-centered approach, building supports around each individual rather than fitting people into a program. Residents find real stability. That is not an accident. It's a result of consistent staffing, individualized planning, and a genuine commitment to helping people thrive where they live. Many of our residents stay in our housing for years because it works. All of the amenities in this proposed development, the pool, the fitness center, barbecue areas, putting green, bocce court, will be used by our residents, just like anyone else living there. That's the point. It isn't segregated housing, it's a community. YI has always taken a community-centered approach, and this project is no different. We're not asking to build something separate from Brookhaven. We're asking to help 56 people of the Brookhaven community by allowing them to live independently, work, and contribute right alongside their neighbors. There is a real and growing shortage of housing for the people YI supports, and this project would meaningfully help address that shortfall. On behalf of YI, and the people who could call this community home, thank you. We ask for your support in helping them live with dignity, independence, and safety.
Thank you, Devon. Great work that these guys do. So one of the things that Devon mentioned was the benefit of the retail is that it will provide hopefully some employment opportunities for some of the IDD folks and training opportunities. But it's important for this board to appreciate the fact that it really is the civics that drove this requirement that we're gonna have 40,000 square feet of retail. Typically a project like this, market would be 3,000, like a token type of retail. But the community really wanted a town center, a true mixed use, and it agreed to 40,000 square feet of retail. They also did not want any big boxes. They didn't want any drive-throughs. This is all high risk, slow absorption, home finance, these type of smaller stores. They want sit-down restaurants, and the stores have committed that this is what they're going to deliver here. But as I say, that there's financial risk associated with that. An even bigger financial factor associated with this 40,000 square feet of retail is that it demands a lot of parking, surface parking to have that much retail. And what that does is it takes up the parking that otherwise could have been used for the residential facility. The net result of that is that since we have to install a $11.5 million parking podium in order to accommodate the residential and the retail on the same property. So it's an additional $11.5 million cost. Also, the retail component adds to operationally to security costs going forward, because there's a lot of security that has to be provided to operate a town center like this. Between the IDD units, and you heard about the employment there, and the retail, we're projecting over 90 full-time equivalent jobs at this project. However, without the IDA's assistance, this project's just not financially feasible. This project will require a 25-year pilot. All these significant public benefits resulting from the extensive public input have resulted in $190 million of project costs. And there's no developer fee. The stores are not taking developer fee as part of this. The applicant has always been transparent about the need for IDA assistance throughout the process that got us to this point. The project just doesn't pencil out. These very high costs are associated with the steel and concrete construction, the civic requested amenities and high-end finishes, the structured parking required to be outside retail, the limitations on income potential due to the large neighborhood retail component and the 20% IDD units. All these costs factor result in the need for a 25-year pilot. Where the 25-year pilot that we'd request would be such that typical that would phase in the new taxes that would be created by this project for the area over that period of time. We're also requesting a sales tax exemption for the construction materials and the FF&E that would be part of this project, which would be very significant, and mortgage recording tax on the anticipated financing. It's important to note that even with these requested benefits that we're asking the IDA to consider, the project still would not achieve bank required debt coverage ratio without significant owner equity infusion and continuing operational subsidies. The returns to the owner would be less than a 30-year treasury bill. In other words, if they take this money into the treasury, I'll get more than what we're expected to get out of this for a 25-year pilot. This applicant's going to do this. As you've heard, they've had this property for over 70 years. They're here, they're committed. This is a legacy project. This is their community. This is something they believe in this mission with the IDD and renovating this whole area. And as such, we'd have to this board accept this application for consideration. We'd offer any questions.
I have two questions. Who's actually going to build this for you?
Sure, we'll hire a third-party construction manager to build it for us. We don't have the agreement signed with one yet. It would be a large reputable firm.
Okay, and as it relates to the numbers, maybe I'm confused between the application and the narrative. My understanding is the capitalization or the equity piece, depending on the value of the land, was going to be 190, but there was also going to be $110 million worth of financing. So is the cost of the project 190 or is it 300?
No, it's 190. Yeah, it's 110 construction loan, approximately 55 million of cash equity that we will put in, and then the value of the land, which would be a contribution as equity.
Okay, I thought the letter said 190. But I'll go back and look at it.
190 is the total project cost, and it's about a 58% loan to value, is what's makes it up. It's a tremendous equity contribution. And even at that, as it said, it's barely penciling out with a 25-year pilot.
Other questions?
Yeah, the project seems very close to another one that's close to our heart, which is the Ronkonkoma Hub. In some of the synergy that between the two, of what you said today, Dan, and what we have in Ronkonkoma, which is restaurants and housing, the unique situation for housing in this particular case. But the fact that I think I heard no kind of chain restaurants, more localized restaurants, which is what that project was, has a central center for the community that Ronkonkoma did not have a kind of a downtown Main Street area, and Port Jeff Station kind of doesn't have that, and sounds like it's gonna meet that need. You talked about employment, so the synergy between the retails that are there and the IDD, how would employment be encouraged with the new retailers?
I'm sorry, with the IDD specifically?
Yeah,
For YI, we have an employment services program, and what we do is we look to connect with local stores, companies, and we provide the training with the people we support to go in and do the job associated there. So it could be anything from a greeter, dishwasher, server, cashier, things of that, and we provide job coaches throughout. So that person that we support, they go in, they get the training, and our job coach follows up weekly, daily if needed to provide the supports. And that funnels back through our employment services program for all of the other information that's needs to be done.
thank you. You mentioned about you're building a forever building. Why that route? You said the town had requested that,
Well, I think first of all, the
which is a lot more.
Yeah, I think
expensive,
first
as
of all, the
outlined.
stores only do quality things to begin with. So it
Absolutely.
was very important to the community that be kind of memorialized and committed to. And, steel and concrete is a different style of construction, as you guys know, than stick built, which is market or commercial for the most part, because, a lot of these projects in general don't pencil out. It makes it even harder if you're gonna build this type of building. And, I think it's more about a quality and this is a long-term play for these guys. They've had it for 70 years. They're
Yeah.
probably gonna have it for another 70 years. So
Yeah.
they need the building to be there.
Well, it's kind of a unique project with the elements that are included in it. Okay, thank you.
What kind of security are you gonna have so it doesn't turn into the same kind of degenerate situation that existed there?
It's an excellent question. Thank you for asking it. We'll have security cameras throughout the entire project. Everything from every spot inside the buildings, in all the public areas, as well as the entire outside. And we'll also have private security patrolling the entire development, but we'll also have to work very closely with Suffolk County Police Department, which we hope will maintain a presence in the area.
Who monitors the cameras? Is it 24/7?
We will, we'll have, private on-site security. So we've, designed a room where we'll be monitoring the cameras, and we'll also have a patrol as well.
I think it's a good project per se. I mean, one time my mom used to have a clothes store in that shopping center for quite some time, prior to the riffraff moving in. But I think the board had some questions, with the application itself, but the mortgage recording exemption, I think, after some discussion, we're talking about you guys, instead of getting a mortgage recording tax exemption, maybe paying the mortgage tax on the project itself, due to the fact that you're asking for a longer pilot that we normally give. Not sure how many years we're willing to go with, but that's something that our attorneys and your attorneys could work out. But otherwise, I think it's not a bad project.
Thank you. We'll certainly.
Other questions from the board?
Anne Marie has the question.
Anne Marie, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for this very interesting presentation. And I hope that I am not leading us off on a tangent. Over the last several years, we've heard a great deal about transit-oriented development. This project is very convenient walking distance to the Port Jefferson train station. And yet I haven't heard you say anything about transit-oriented development in relation to the project. Is there a reason for that? Thank you.
No, I think just expediency. So sorry for not bringing that up. Thank you for bringing it up. Yes, I think we're maybe a quarter mile from the train station. While we don't know if there's a large commuting population that would commute to New York City, certainly I know I live in Port Jefferson Village. My wife works at Stony Brook Hospital. She went to residency there. We've had many friends where one person works at either Stony Brook, Mather, or St. Charles, which are all 5 to 15 minutes from this site, and one person commutes into the city 3 days a week. So we think this would be a really ideal location for families like that, where maybe it's a couple, one person works locally, one has to commute into the city.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Is there any other places where you could scale back where you wouldn't have to need so much help from our organization?
I guess anything specifically, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess you're saying, I mean, the problem is, as I said, it's been an 8-year process with these boards where the civics, where they really have required these different features, so. You know, a lot, we would like to scale, I don't want to say that we'd like to scale back, but obviously we're not enthusiastic about having it as high a cost as possible. But this is kind of where we've come in at through that process and pricing this thing out at the 190 million. And,
I think if I may, I think our goal ultimately is to build the best project possible, and we think that'll be a real benefit for the town. We think that, you know, the higher quality buildings, since we're building 9 buildings, the higher quality they are, the longer they will remain Class A, which we hope they'll remain Class A for perpetuity. Certain things we're doing, like certain green elements, for example, you know, we're choosing to do heat pumps, and I think the savings for our decision to do heat pumps versus a natural gas building are over $500 a year for our tenants. Versus an all-electric building with traditional PTACs or VTAC units that are more commonly seen in apartments. The heat pumps will save $260 a unit. So I think it's just at every level, we're making these decisions to build what we think is the best project possible. And we think that's a benefit for the town and the local community, and then ultimately the people who will choose to live there and work there.
Because these pilots put stress on school districts and single family home taxpayers. So I was just questioning if there's a way that you didn't need so much to move in order to get this project moving forward.
well, I would suggest also that even with the pilot, that this is going to produce a lot more revenue once it's up and going than it would otherwise. Right now, it's it's almost fully demolished. It's about 80% demolished. Shopping center that's been blighted.
I know.
So it's going down to vacant property. So this is going to be a generator for the local taxing jurisdictions. And this type of housing does not typically generate a lot of, as you heard, it's going to be private security. It's going to be, very active management. So it's probably not going to be a big drain on municipal services as a practical matter.
Dan, do you have any estimates on what the tax revenues will be compared to what they are now?
We have not done that because we have had an estimate. Usually we work with the assessor through the IDA to get the as-built taxes. Unless you have something, I don't know, but
I guess you mentioned school district, and I think, the short answer, as we've studied it, we believe, the project will have a positive fiscal impact, on the district and a negligible impact on enrollment, because based on K through 12 enrollment in the district, it's declined by 32 students per year since 2007, 2008. That's 610 students, or over 15% decline over the period. And when the Real Estate Institute at Stony Brook studied the impact of school-age children and, new developments on Long Island, extrapolating those numbers, there'd be approximately 20 school-age children. But we think that's an overestimate because we're gonna have 2/3 studios and 1 bedrooms. And in our apartments in Farmingdale, where we actually have 50% 2 bedrooms and 50% 1 bedrooms, we've only ever had between 0 and 2 school-age children. Extrapolating that here, we'd be able to maximum of 11 school-age children. So either way, the rate of decline currently at the school district greatly exceeds the projected number of school-age children living at Jefferson Station. And at stabilization, we believe that the real estate taxes paid through the pilot would exceed the cost of educating the students that will live there.
How about traffic studies? Because I don't know if you've driven up and down Route 112 at 5 o'clock, but that traffic doesn't move. And environmental studies, have you addressed any of those things?
Yes, that was all addressed during the rezoning. We did I think it was a 148-page traffic study that was accepted by the town and the New York State Department of Transportation before they granted approvals for the project. So that was all very closely scrutinized and considered by the town.
I remember this used to have, how many square feet was the
The
prior?
shopping center was 111,000 square feet.
So, this new proposed use, even though it's to change, is going to produce less traffic than what was previously permitted. Unfortunately, because of the shopping patterns,
It's
tastes,
gonna produce less traffic, you think?
what's that?
It's gonna produce less traffic, you
Than
think?
what was previously, what it had 110,000 square foot shopping center on it.
Yeah, I think generally the idea is if, you know, you have an apartment, people leave, they come back, and the retail has a lot more daily trips. So shrinking the retail from 111,000 square feet to 40,000 square feet offsets, the new residents. So that's, you know, generally, you know, what was studied, what was accepted by the town and the New York State Department of Transportation. But if the board would like to see the study, we could share that.
I would think a lot of your tenants are gonna come from the hospitals, university, you know, that whole there. So when you talk about studios and the, you know, those in residence at the hospital and whatnot, certainly will benefit by that. The one thing, sounds like you really did your homework with regard to community involvement. Which probably cost you more money than you anticipated because of the way you've reconstructed or probably changed your thought process. You're really building a downtown area for and a community focal point for that area. And lots of times we have people coming in here that do not do the extent of community involvement, and then we hear about it later. So I'm certainly pleased with how you've approached the whole
They
project.
originally said 50 meetings, I thought they were saying 15, they said, no, 50,
Yeah,
meetings with the community staff.
The end result is, you know, what you've come through with here today. Thank you.
There are no further questions. Need a motion to accept the application. Second?
Second, with the,
Oh,
With the
well, I
understanding-
talked about, you know, the mortgage
Yeah.
recording tax and that the attorneys work out,
the
because.
details.
On
Yeah.
the vote, Mr. Bonacasa,
Accept.
Callahan,
Yes,
Valley,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Trotter,
Yes,
Mr. Scheit,
Yes,
Ron votes yes, it's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
So it is.
the next item.
Can you just text me if everything's ready? I'll stay down here. If you're not in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
He hates it.
I didn't want to interrupt, they were doing a nice
The
job.
next
Yeah.
item on the agenda is WB request comments. An application.
what?
Oh. Go that way, I'll speak back.
Mr. Shea.
Remember that.
I'm sick of my stomach.
Good morning, J. Timothy Shea Jr., Pullman Ballon, 100 Most Parkway, High Home, the applicant. To my right, is Ben Tressler, one of the two principals, or one of the principals, I should say, of WT Woodcrest. Bill Walter has joined by video.
You want me to
or-
bring-
Yeah, if you can bring him in.
What do you need?
Bill Bolter.
Yep.
Everyone,
I see Bill. Okay, so I'll do a very brief overview and then I'm gonna hand over the presentation to Ben. They'll talk more specifically about their current operations and the project itself. The property involved here is on the south side of Route 347. About 1,000 feet or less from Crystal Brook Hollow Road in Port Jefferson Station. Kind of right on that verge of that, the border between Port Jefferson Station and.
White picket fence on the front.
Yeah, you could, I guarantee if you've driven on there, you've driven by it 100 times and wouldn't even know it. Buildings are set back off of the roadway, small driveway access,
And I do.
and it was like,
Oh, this is a good. Yeah, this is a good.
so currently, there are 256 senior housing units on this project. They are fully affordable. Bill and Ben have been meeting with the town of Brookhaven over the last number of months. in order to expand and to add on approximately what we think will be 104 senior units onto the property. We are placing together our change of zone application right now and anticipate that, along with site plan being change zone probably being submitted in the next 2 weeks. We have met, or Bill have met with the local civic and had numerous discussions with them, along with the local councilman. We believe that there is town and civic support for this application. This will be fully 100% affordable. We've gone through HRC, which leads me to, one side note is that they have a deadline for applications for the upcoming year of September 9th. And that's why we're making this application now, because HRC wants to see some indication that the project is actually moving forward. Applications have been made in order to accept our application for state funding and tax credit funding on this particular project. It also is being done in conjunction with the CDLI and Gwen O'Shea, who will be administering the affordability and who will be a JV partner on this along with the tax investors. The rents will be between 30% and 80% of AMI. And the people who live here, so it's not quite the same over 55 where people are turning 56 and jumping in. The average age in this particular community is 62 years old. And so it's probably a little bit older than it was, 62 plus, than some newer senior housing where you typically might be a little bit younger. And these people stay for an extended period of time. So I'll turn it over to Ben and to Bill to fill in all of the gaps.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Again, thanks for hearing us today. So we finished Woodcrest Phase 1 about 25 years ago. It's affordable, has always been affordable, and will continue to be affordable. Back then in 2001 or so, when that development was built, there are 2-story units where it's a 55 and over development. The buildings are 2 stories and each apartment is a 1-story apartment. So half the units have staircases going up, which was fine when we opened. But as Tim had said, people don't usually move out of this development because there's nowhere else to go because it's affordable housing. So the result of that is that our age has increased a lot in Phase 1. So part of our goal in Phase 2 is that we're doing all elevator buildings in Phase 2, and that will allow some of our own residents in Phase 1 to age in place on the same property. So it's solving, not only increasing the supply of affordable senior housing in Brookhaven, but it's also allowing our residents who really need handicapped accessible apartments to move into Phase 2 when we get that done. The other thing about this development that's works out very well is when we built Phase 1, we built a very expensive sewage treatment plant, and we have tremendous excess capacity that allows us to build Phase 2 without having to build a new sewage treatment plant. Phase 2 is basically a very flat site. It's a very straightforward build. The big thing we need is funding from New York State Homes and Community Renewal and assistance from Suffolk County and from your IDA. So we're here today to begin that process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, did he steal your thunder? I think he got it very well. Happy to take any questions.
It's a great project. My mom lives there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, she's been there for a couple of years, and this board, I believe, is all about affordable. And she did have to go through some things in order to get in there, financially wise. And I think she got in there just under the cusp, and she loves it. Recently, she moved from a upstairs one, because I think you start upstairs and then you work your way down, because her age was getting there. We did move her down, and I think that's about it. But I mean, she loves it. She's got some friends, and they have a nice clubhouse. So, my personal is that it's a great project. So,
What is CDLI role?
They'll be a full JV partner in the development and they'll be helping to coordinate senior services on site. So their network of third-party nonprofit senior services agencies will be operating on site and providing referrals for legal services, benefits, healthcare referrals. So their
network
will be serving the tenants.
Are they involved in the first phase? Also?
Yeah, they're involved in the first phase as well, yeah.
They've been in this since 2001 with us. And we're still
Thank you.
friends.
Any
Yes,
questions?
as a member of the CDLI board, I am delighted to see you folks and look forward to working with you, continuing to work with you.
Thank you. So do we. Appreciate that. Oh, one of the things I didn't mention, which is just information that's a good thing to know. When we do this phase two, part of our plan is to also make improvements to phase one. Doesn't impact your board, but because of the aging in place issue, we're also going to make, because phase two is much larger, 256 units, we're going to make some improvements to phase one as well as a part of that. And part of the way we came to that is Tim had mentioned we had met with the town of Brookhaven officials and the local civic, but we also did a resident meeting with, I think, about 100 of our residents came and we did a survey to basically ask them about their own desires, for phase two and for phase one. And the thing we heard the most is sort of upgrading phase one in terms of the ADA compliance, in order to make it easy for people to live there, so that, as a member just said, you don't have to go from the second floor to the first floor.
There you go. There you go.
Is there a motion from the board?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anne Marie, you will abstain?
I have abstained. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a vote without it. I will abstain as well. I'm on the advisory.
So we're good, right?
She's on the
Yep.
board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bullshit.
I am going to take some things, yeah, I'm gonna take some things out of order, just, I know,
Supposed to be in 12.
yes.
Anything?
The next item on the agenda is WF Industrial 12. So, just to remind everybody, this is the, spec warehouse project on the north side of the LIE. That's currently, you guys have a default letter out for them. And since our last meeting, we shared the data center information that they provided to us. That was sent out to everybody a little while ago, maybe before our last meeting, actually. Subsequent to that, the state has passed a 1-year moratorium and the town has passed an 18-month moratorium on data centers. And this board did a consensus that we would not support data centers. I took things out of order, but one of the resolution that is on our agenda is to make that consensus official. But I know that Dan has some timing issues, and so I figured I would have him come up and speak to the board.
Thank you. Morning, everybody, and thank you for getting me out of order a little bit. Everybody else, but hopefully we'll.
What about you?
So piggybacking off of Lisa's introduction, I think the board is aware of, or is probably aware of what has been called the town board, their moratorium that is now, as I understand it, in place. We submitted a lot of information, I think it was not last month, but maybe the month before, related to the project itself, and I think generally to the use that is proposed here now. We've talked about it quite a bit over a number of meetings here. I've also had a bunch of conversations with Lisa, Barry, and Ned. And our, with strong conviction, ask
is to not terminate this project at this time during the pendency of the moratorium. You know, I don't profess to know what the town board will do or anybody will do, but certainly it is our hope with the presentations that our group has made to the town board, community outreach, that they are not only continuing, but really ramping up to try and educate people on what this specific project will be and the myths surrounding the impacts that might come, whether it's related to water, energy, gas, or any of that. Hopefully it's getting us to a point in time where through the moratorium and at the conclusion of it, or if there are any kind of positive determinations before the end of the moratorium, that this project will go forward. Yeah, the idea of benefits are terminated, it almost is a lot that this project will not go forward, and that the foreseeable future will be very gloomy for this project. Significant financing in place that will likely fall apart if not the benefits go away. So our ask is just to keep things status quo during the pendency of the moratorium. If there were no moratorium and things were going south in a different kind of way, maybe things would be different. But because there's a pause with the town so far as the application for this project, we would ask that the pause continue here as well. We did submit after discussion that I had with everybody, as alluded to earlier. We've submitted a tax report or analysis that was performed by the tax certiorari Cronin, who are attorneys for project owners, the property owners, and they've come up with a projected number that they think the taxes could be if there were no benefits in place. We're at the early part of the pilot. I think right now the pilot payment is somewhere around $65,000. In December, it's going to ramp up, I think, just over 100, if I'm not mistaken. So
41,000 this year, and it goes to 177,
Yeah.
the 26-27.
So I think part of the discussion we've been having is there some agreement that we could come to that might assist with a pause, meaning that the cooperation from the parties to do something that compensates for the lack of jobs that have not been created, jobs that aren't there, again, through the pendency of this application and the transformation of this project. What intended to what owners are seeking out. So with that, if there are any questions, I'll certainly take them, but what I'd like to do is continue the conversation that I've been having with council and Lisa, hopefully
Yes.
find way forward.
That's agreeable with everybody?
Yes.
Good, okay, excellent.
We'll do it.
Thank you all very much. Yes, thank you very much. Everybody enjoy the rest of the summer.
Take care, Dan, you too.
Like, man.
Okay, so, I already took stuff out of order, so I'll keep, so you guys are not prepared.
Still here.
Or just our basic resolutions. Rail Realty, is here. Since our last meeting, we received a letter that was included in your packets, clarifying some of the, discussion at our last board meeting.
And the board reviewed it.
Yeah, so it was put in your packets and the board reviewed it. And Peter, did you have something you wanted to say, or Fred, did you want to?
No, at this stage of the game, I think the letter is very detailed. It's a really good idea of the challenges that are facing the project and what the project is going to do in response to them, both making upgrades and repairs to the site itself, working with the village for some public area improvements. And again, as we discussed, the affordability factor. We'd like to hear if the board has any additional questions.
Questions from the board? I think the resolution will be on the table will be that revised pilot, we can see existing pilot is due in November, is that correct?
Yes.
Will be taxes at 50% for 7-year term. It'll ramp up during that 7-year term to the end of it will be, fully assessed and put it 50%. Now,
That's what we're proposing.
And finding by. The request was for 70% abatement.
Correct.
That did decline. Right. The board's offer, it's a 50% abatement
which
that
is,
declines by,
it's between 70 and 30.
but if it declines down to. So I think in the letter, it was a 70%
Correct.
staying static. This is now a 50% declining annual.
Correct.
That's the count.
7.
One can go down by 1/7. 1/10 of the 70 as well. Math was never.
Yeah.
Yes. It's always been
Seven.
an issue as a lawyer being faced by.
You're good.
You would have been a doctor, right?
Kevin, I'm behind you. So that is. That's the response.
That's the motion on the table. So is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Wish you living.
I appreciate that. Okay. As you heard, everyone appreciates that, and we're in agreement.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we hold a public hearing.
Right. And then come back for, September.
Yeah.
And then close.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Barry.
Yep,
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. thank you.
Okay. I didn't think it was great last year. I thought we do it every other year, but
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Take care, guys.
it was wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Something that was, thank you.
We'll get some dates. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
But Peter, to answer your question, yes, as a board member, but otherwise I would have thought. Hopefully, it's better than last year.
He was behind the scenes.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Doing good, Lise.
sorry, just
You're
ready.
doing good.
Okay, so, and keeping with theory of jumping around, we have a request from Lawrence Aviation Solar Farm LLC. The letter was in your packets. It's for a change of ownership and an extension of their completion date. Is there anything else, Andrew? That's the. Yeah. Completion date to, hold on, I didn't write it down, sorry. They're asking for, extending the completion date to November 30th of 2026.
Nobody's ever met the completion date. You want to stay with that or you want to go further?
The closing date was actually expiring by the end of August in our case. We're asking for an extension.
Yeah, what I'm just asking is whether November's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. We're about to close with all investment funds.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Motion,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thing that's holding up the MTA from purchasing,
Very close. I talked to the county Monday.
okay,
They're like, they don't want to say anything. They're holding their breath that they don't back out
I
again,
know.
but they think it's gonna happen.
But he's good, right?
Yes, and I'm go upstairs.
What's going on with the bridge, anything?
Yeah, we're almost ready to start construction. See pasture you're talking about?
Yeah, who's doing that? The town?
Yeah, the town. We're very close.
That's an interesting
Things like-
construction project.
Don't go over that bridge until we.
And that sees things we don't. See you later.
There might also be a, request to change the sales tax, but it's not gonna happen right now, but it might be in the.
Coming due to a pretty technical set of how the state
Yeah.
views whether it is a capital improvement
Why don't you take care of it now?
versus
It's not.
acquisition of the asset.
They're not-
Need to know them now.
Yeah, they're not sure what's gonna happen.
All right, so that's fine.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
so that,
You did. There you go.
A little overview, but,
anybody questions?
No, I
Go have lunch instead.
just changed the ownership and the extension. That's, yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the original owner is also staying in the picture,
Yeah.
but there is gonna be essentially an additional
Right.
owner operator of the assets, so. So it's a bit of a restructuring.
There you go.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Have a good one. I knew he looked familiar.
Avoidant.
I knew he looked like a Sweden guy, a Swedish guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go back up so we don't miss anything. We have a resolution on the table to pass officially put your position on data centers on the table. So at maybe 2 meetings ago,
Yeah,
maybe longer, you guys said
no,
don't want to support.
Yes,
data centers, so
definitely
we did
not.
As a consensus, so I
Nope.
think it would be helpful just to have that as an official resolution.
I would make that motion.
I would second it.
Any questions about that?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fred,
Thank
did we do minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have any questions on it?
No, I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
think we did it, so I thought we skipped it, so I was trying to be
No.
helpful.
We did, we did them,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lori did her,
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
Lori did her thing. I got her down.
The next item is our banking and investing resolution. It needs a little bit of updating. We need to change some of our who can
Bank?
sign, and then also,
Is that because of the change in the bank?
So
Yeah.
we did that already.
I thought so.
yeah.
So,
And then also, I would ask if you guys would be okay adding Dime Bank on as a bank that we can use. We're exploring some of their products. I figure that way, if it makes sense, we can move ahead with it.
who's doing the research, Fred?
Oh, Lori.
Oh, Lori, okay, no, I,
We have 2 banks now, considering adding a third.
And they have a municipal.
Municipal, same thing, either collateralized or.
yeah, well, I know you were a banker and I know you do with DPA and all that, so yeah,
So do I have a,
so moved. The resolution
Second.
That would be to
change
update the current signatures on
And-
existing banking
and to explore,
relationships and to explore a third.
well, to add Dime on?
yep,
Yeah.
Specific, but yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request from 4L Realty. Just to remind everybody, this was a project that did not meet their, chronically didn't meet their job creation numbers. And when we went over our annual reports, it was kind of a recurring issue. Their current number that they're required to have is 42. They had they had about 30. They were able to get it back up to 35, but it subsequently dropped back down to 32. And they think 32 is probably realistic as to where they're going to be. So they have, there's a letter in your packets. They have requested that we,
Terminate.
no,
Reduce the name.
that we reduce the number of what they're expected to have as far as job creation from 42 to 32. And we put in a caveat with that instead of paying, their pilot is currently, let's say $5,000 a year, it's right in and around there. That we increase it by about $2,500 a year, and we put a requirement in there that $2,500 increase must be paid by the company, not by the subs, because it's a spec industrial project. So we didn't want that to pass through, and the small businesses in there have to pay it. So that's the resolution that's on the table. They're agreeable. The letters from their attorney, we negotiated this with them, and they were okay with it.
I'll move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And I will tell you, the only other project that, other than WH WF 12. The only other project that we had issues with was WHTB Glass. And they were able to hire people. They sent us a letter outlining that they're at 50, which puts them above
Oh, good.
the job creation number. So that
Good.
was good.
They work with us.
Yeah. And
Good.
the last item on the agenda is the new NIS, new interdisciplinary school is having a 50th anniversary cocktail reception on October 22nd from 5:30 to 8:30 PM. I just wanted to, they're honoring Mayor Pontieri. I just wanted to see if anybody was interested in attending or participating.
Yeah.
That was a former project.
Yeah.
I will.
Why? Only someone, 250,
It was IDA when IDA was left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just want to take it, Fred?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Too proud.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Just send that check.
Yeah.
You're gonna show. What?
That's for you. Whoa.
I do the Irish exit.
Yeah, but.
Just want to make sure we covered everything.
I do this, but I don't get paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Board have anything else to bring up? Hearing none.
We're gonna get you a gavel.
What?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, gavel? So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thanks. Thanks, Anne Marie.
He looks like.
Sorry that you could not all